How to unconfuse an American.
Let me know. As always, I love taking requests from you guys.
This is Iwrocker.
Ute is a truck or a yeah, Ute, baby. I know what that is for sure. Trucks. I'm a big truck guy. Love trucks.
Right,
Obviously,
now this is the part here. Iwrocker, if you watch this video, I'm going to answer your question here in this video you made a couple of weeks ago.
Which is 100 differences between America and Australia. I wonder what the difference is. But like actual things that are different. Anyways, next up. That's something that I've been wanting to do as well. I haven't even looked it up yet. I would like to react to. Naturally, it'd be interesting, right? Reacting to like going to the grocery store in Australia versus America. So obviously, I know what American stores are like, but I wonder how your stores are down in Australia, like how different they are, how big they are. I'm sure you guys have a lot of, I'll be honest, maybe better food quality. America's known for a lot of different foods, but some of
We
them
got
are very,
Vegemite on the shelf.
questionable on ingredients and GMOs and what have you. So yeah, that's one. If you guys know of a good grocery store video or something I can look up, let me know. As always, I love taking requests.
Right, okay, well, just for you, this is Mr. Hominoid down under. So you can look me up under hominoidsaustralia@gmail.com. Send me an email to there or mhominoid on Facebook. And if you like, we'll have a chat or a discussion by email, and I'll go down and I'll film a local supermarket for you and the different types of supermarkets, and also answer your question about trolley. You said trolley was like a tram. That's what we call a tram, what you call a trolley car, like in San Francisco. A trolley here, there's all different types of trolleys. You got trolleys that go on a flat floor around a supermarket when they put the food on the shelves, and then you've also got the customer trolleys that have a railway type wheel fitting with a boot on the back of it. Now, a boot on the back means it has a tag that hangs down the back, and when it goes onto the escalator, it won't slip, and it locks onto these long flat escalators, but they're only around the city. But anyway, there's all sorts of things over here called trolleys. You also have railway trolleys, which are little four-wheel drive trolleys, such as this. This is also known as a trolley trike. It's a railway trike. Let's have a look at one. Watch. Now this is Glenray to Dorrigo. This is another type of trolley. So basically, anything there on four wheels is a trolley.
From you guys. Is Ute? Ute is a truck or a yeah, Ute, baby. I know what that is for sure. Trucks. I'm a big truck guy. Love trucks. Obviously, in America we call them trucks, but over there Utes, and I do like that one. That's a cool word, and totally Australian again. Truck bed, but they're not really trucks here. It's like that. It's like small car. Yeah, that's what I'm picturing right there.
Right. Yeah, we call that a Ute, and a truck to us is like an F100. Or a truck is like what I had, my video, which got firebombed. That is a truck, which is a 11-ton carrying truck. And what we call a semi-trailer in Pantech, you call a tractor-trailer. So there's another difference, one there you didn't get. You say tractor-trailer. We say prime mover in Pantech, or prime mover or semi, which means semi-detached. It semi-detaches through a tongue and slot.
Is what most Utes are. But in America, bigger is better here. Like everyone has big, including myself, have always loved big, humongous, trucks. So how common? I'm assuming they're probably less common there, correct? For the bed, I don't know.
Well, I've actually got a 1986 Ford American Chevrolet with the four back wheels and the single axle. So there you go, a dark blue one. Yeah, and it's got the very wide, big mud guards on the outside, and also the inner guards inside the back of the ute itself. And if you like your Holdens, Ian, I've got a 1977 Holden Kingswood V8 308 muscle car sitting out there doing nothing. That's actually been around the Bathurst racetrack. So it has been up there. It's also been to the world famous Byron Bay. And I've also got the 1975 FJ40 Toyota short wheelbase Land Cruiser, purple and gold and silver roll cage. And it can travel up with Detroit interlockers and can go up rock climbing. So I hope we can interest you in something down here in Australia. And if you'd like me to go for a drive up to Bathurst, with the restrictions down here now getting lifted, we might just be able to take our little tiny 1.4cc Hyundai and show you the real perspective, how big and how high and how steep the Bathurst racetrack is and how far out of town it is and how high up Mount Panorama is overlooking Bathurst and how close the point of Mount Panorama is to the city of Bathurst and Bathurst Jail and Bathurst other things around as well. Which also, there's another case which you might be interested in, Ian, is a Mr. Ballon done a story on some people that left Melbourne and they actually went through Goulburn and they went up to Bathurst. And then they went out to Jenolan Caves through Oberon. Then they went back down to Goulburn, down to a town called Yass. Now you think yes, I say yes and no. No, the town is called Yass, Yass, and he calls it Yass. So the pronunciation is Yass, not Yass. And same as Wagga Wagga is not Wagga Wagga. And there's a lot of other funny pronunciations, such as Wollongong is actually spelt Wollongong, but we pronounce it as Wollongong. Wool, W-O-O-L-L. But it's not, it's W-O-L-L, but we pronounce it as Wollongong. It's one of those funny names. We also have one town called Canowindra, which is also pronounced as Canoundra. Now, Canoundra and Canowindra is the same town. You write it down. Can, C-A-N-O, Windra, and Canoundra, Canowindra and Canoundra. And we also have a town called Dunedoo. Now you say Dunedoo, yeah, well a dunny is a toilet. And what you do in the toilet is you do your business, Dunedoo. And that's how it got its name, because everybody went there. They found out there was nothing there and they all went to the bathroom. No, it's just a joke. I'm being funny. But the name of the town is called Dunedoo. D-U, come on, spell it. D-U-N-N-E-E-D-O-O, Dunedoo. And it's also around the corner from another town by the name of Binaway. So if you get your garbage bin and you throw it away, it's called bin away. So anyway, let's keep listening to you, Ian.
To you, and the bed, and it is not called a bed, it's a you. Yeah. A new word I learned here that I have been using in my vocabulary is bloke, which just means like guy.
Man.
Yeah. Like a good dude. Bloke I always find funny. That one would be kind of cool if people in America like loosely started working that into conversation. I find bloke like a funny word. I don't know. It's kind of cool.
Well, a bloke is just to say, hey, listen, I went down the road, met some bloke who told me how to go and fix something, or he is a good bloke, or there's another term too, which he misses out on in this story, old mate. Now, this is something a lot of people, Americans, don't even know what it means. To me, I am Ian, I am your old mate. Now, you say, why is that? You don't even know me. Because it is a very respectful way for a younger Australian or foreigner to speak to an older Australian and say, he is my old mate from down under, and he will educate me and show me the ropes down under here in Australia. So I am your old mate, which means you show respect for the elderly, and I'm called an old mate. So from your old mate down here down under, let's hope we get to hear from you, Ian.
I mean, dude, I use it a lot. Guy, it's become almost overused. It'd be kind of cool to switch it up and say bloke over here in the States.
A guy to us means male.
All right, a car park is somewhere where you park your car, or we call parking lot. Kind of makes sense, not gonna lie.
Car park, yeah, you park your car. A jetty is a water.
When I first heard it, it is just a dock, like a boat dock, jumps out in the water. Guess that's where it got its name. Okay. Another word they use all the time is Mrs. That means like your girlfriend.
Mrs., your girlfriend, your wife, your ex-missus.
Old mate is another confusing one because you think like,
there you go, old mate.
Friend, an old mate, but it's actually like the total opposite. It just means like someone like, oh, an old mate, like.
No, got that wrong. Old mate is showing respect to an older Australian male.
Random off in the distance could be referred to as an old mate.
It's an older person to teach you the correct way. He's got that wrong.
The exact same in Australia and the U.S. However, they pronounce them so differently here, you might not actually know what they're talking about when they say them. So the first one is Adidas. Don't know what it means?
Adidas.
That's what they're trying to say. Oh. Next up is aluminium, which is aluminum, as we would say it.
Aluminium.
Third is oregano, or as we say in the U.S., oregano. Fourth is Nissan, or what we would call in the US,
Nissan.
Car company,
Nissan.
Yeah. And the next two are just
it's missing a Nissan because there's a missing the piston.
H, like they say like the sound and then the name of it, like H. And next is
H.
Z, they call it Z. And then lastly, it's kind of random, but it's
Z, not Z.
Like they just say every day of the week differently. They kind of like
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It's like Wednesday, like Wednesday, something like that.
Wednesday. See you Thursday, see you Friday.
The phonetic spelling of how you pronounce all the days.
See you Thursday, see you Monday.
Love to shorten stuff. They shorten everything. However, there are 3 words.
Now, there's also another one, Ian, you might want to know, is that we say, oh, if you want to be rude to somebody, but without being rude, you say, oh, yeah, I got your number, I'll give you a ring, and yet you don't really have their phone number. So, for example, if I'm sitting down at a coffee shop and you walk past us, oh, how you going? He says, oh, okay, I'll give you a ring, I got your number, and then they keep walking. That means that they really don't want to talk to you. So they say they got your number. How can they have your number unless you give them your mobile phone number or your house phone number? So if somebody ever says to you, I got your number, you can turn around and say, go and get stuffed, right? Or bugger off. Or go drop off a cliff.
Which we do shorten better than them. And that is Telly, Aircon, and Dezo. Okay.
Telly, television, air conditioning.
We always say TV. No one ever spells out television. It's always TV. Aircon we call AC.
Yeah.
And Deso.
AC down here is a form of electricity. 24 volt and 2 volt.
And Deso DD. 3 things. Oh, okay. Designated driver. Yeah, we just call who's the DD tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Designated driver if you want to get picked up from a pub and he does not drink. Therefore, then, if you tell the publican you are the designated driver, most publicans will give you a free soft drink. And therefore, then, because you are being the designated driver, which then stops him being sued for liability for overindulging drivers and getting them drunk, and therefore then the publican can actually be sued for selling too much alcohol to a driver. And also in Australia, you can be 18 years of age, 18, not 21, to drink alcohol. Secondly, you can have alcohol in the front seat of the car and the back seat of the car as long as the bottle is not opened or the can is not opened. You do not have to keep it in the trunk or, as we say, in the boot. And why we call the boot your boot, because when you put your foot in the boot, which is the bottom end of the car, that's where the expression the boot. You get it? You put your foot in the boot. That's the last thing you put in. You put your undies pants on. You put your pants on. And then you put your socks on. And then you put your boot on. Right? So the last thing to go on is your boots. So the last thing at the rear of the car is the boot. That's where the name boot comes from.
600, now we got you beat in. Everything else, y'all do short. Y'all shorten everything. Yeah. All right, now the next 5 words are all words that we do say in American English. However, they just say it here like way more than we do it. Like they say it all the time, and you just don't really hear Americans say these words. First one is heaps. Just means like
heaps.
A lot. Like,
a lot.
Yeah,
it's a heap.
Makes sense. The next is aged.
Heap. It's a heap of cow manure, right? You heap it up in a pile. Or I love you heaps. I love you a lot. Or it's a heap of crap. It means your car is no good, chuck it to the wreckers. It's a heap, right? There's also that heap. This guy sort of tries to get it out, but he's going too fast. He's missing a lot of the different meanings of the word heap. It's a heap of garbage. It's a heap of rubbish. There's a heap of wood. There's a heaps of people. There is lots of people. There is a heap of information. A heap just means basically there is a lot, but also means a heap of garbage. If you say my car is a heap, it means it's not a heap of car, it's a heap of garbage because it doesn't run properly.
But like in the sense of like a long time or far away, like, oh, they live ages away, or oh, like oh.
Right. The word ages away very simply means it takes you so long to get there. By the time you leave home, you'll be clean shaven. And by the time you get there, you'll have a beard like what Ian's got on his face, compared to the guy in the top right-hand side of the picture. So it took heaps of time. It took you ages to get there because you would age in time.
Dude, that's totally American too. I actually, in my own vocabulary, my whole life I've said ages. Pardon me. Like, a lot of times I'll say, hey, man, I haven't seen what's his name in ages. Like, I say that all the time. So that's definitely cross. Next up is neat. We would probably usually say
neat, like, neat and clean and tidy. Fold your clothes up neatly.
I say neat. A lot of people.
And also another neat, I'm going to cut you off there, is if something is really good and you've got a really neat looking car, means you've got a really top of the 100% range car. Or something is really neat, it is something that you really appreciate or you like, that you would like to own, because you see somebody else has got something that you would like but you can't afford it. You say, oh man, that is so neat. Is that neat or what?
Families say neat, like, wow, the house looks very neat, good job. So yeah. Here they typically say, oh, it's neat. Fourth one is keen. You would probably say
keen means yes, you want it.
Yeah, I just learned that in a different video where people, that's one I have not heard here. So like, oh, I'm keen, like, yeah, let's go. Like,
you're keen, you want to go do it, you're full of enthusiasm.
I don't really know how to define it, honestly. I feel like it's like kind of like the F word.
No, it's not the F word. Cheeky means if somebody's cheeky, I'd say, oh, look, I'm going to be cheeky about him. Oh, he's got hair there like a blonde-headed orangutan, right? And he's got a face like a caramello chocolate bear, right? That's being cheeky. Or I could be cheeky and walk out to somebody who's been rude to me and say, well, you're just as beautiful as what I am. See, and I'm an old man. So let's just see what I look like. You don't get the joke. But being cheeky very simply means you're being disrespectful, but you're doing it in a nice way, not being nasty, which means mean, which means rude.
You know, you can kind of use it in a lot of ways, but one way I hear it a lot is like give like a cheeky grin, like kind of like sarcastic.
Cheeky grin.
That's funny.
It's friendly.
Say, like, no problem. Like, I don't know, maybe
no worries, because you're not worrying in your stomach.
I feel like I have a bizarre vocabulary for American standards, so yeah, I almost never say no problem. I always say no worries. Like, even as an American,
you must be part Australian.
No worries, man. Like, so, yeah, that's.
Anyway, I'm going to stop that here because I'm not going to do a copyright in these videos. So it's good I found your little channel there. Anyway, so Iwrocker. Is it Iwrocker or One Rocker? I don't know. Give us a yell. Let us know. hominoidsaustralia@gmail.com, Hominoid on Facebook. Or that's about it. Or leave me a comment down below, Iwrocker, and I'll get back to you. And we'll do a Bathurst video for you. We'll go for a drive around Bathurst, because I've already done a video in Bathurst and I just realised I actually lost it. So I might try and find it in my archives in a 1.5cc Hyundai, and we might go for a drive up there around Bathurst Raceway, and we'll have a cookout up there when the free electric barbecues on top of Bathurst. So before the people start coming back up there for the race, we'll get up there when it's nice and quiet and the locals are down home and there's no one around. But once they start opening up the Bathurst in December, you can't get in there for love of money. Also, I've got video clips, if you look down on my Mr. Hominoid channel, the old Bathurst Road, or the old Great Western Highway, and there's a single wooden lane bridge that is up in the Blue Mountains, south west of Mount Victoria before Lithgow, which is known as the Loop Road. How do you explain this one? Okay, when you come west of Sydney, you have two towns that cross over the Nepean River, which then goes down and the Nepean meets the Gross River and then becomes the Hawkesbury River. And there's two bridges, one over the Nepean and one over the Hawkesbury. The one at Nepean is called Penrith to Emu Plains, which is constantly on Channel 7 News, known as Jamison Town. And the other one is North Richmond Video, which is the Hawkesbury, which goes through the town of North Richmond, which is actually west of Richmond, which has got the famous RAAF base, and both those roads go to Bathurst. Now, the point is, with the Blue Mountains, you have to go either from Penrith, Emu Plains, Glenbrook, Blaxland, Falcon Bridge, and all the way up there through Springwood, and you go through about 100 traffic lights climbing up a mountain. So if you're driving a truck and you get caught every traffic light, your fuel consumption is going to be massive. Now, that's a gentle grade. Right. Now, if you go the second way, which is North Richmond, called the Bells Line of Road, look down on my channel, Mr. Hominoid, and you'll see Bells Line of Road, the old pink truck roadhouse. That's where that used to be 40 years ago. That was there because the Great Western Highway was so narrow going between Katoomba to Mount Victoria down to Lithgow, semi-trailers couldn't go down there. It was only a convict road, and there's a single lane wooden bridge, which is a video of mine, which I'll put on now so you can follow it. Dargan. This is Mount Victoria.
All that sort of thing.
This is
So
why the
that's
Sammies.
Bell Hill over that way.
That's a Bells Line of Road.
And that there is Hartley and Little Hartley. So hello to my YouTube mate at Little Hartley. I forget your name again. What's it? Greta, Cyril, Stuart, Mary, Kathy.
Now, I'm going to show you the old... There we go, hang on. There it is there. Watch.
Look at that beautiful mountains. This is the best time to film this because the sun's going down.
This road was not built when the Bells Line of Road was being made.
Look at these ranges. Look at this out. Check that out.
That's why all the trucks used to come over the Bells Line of Road.
That's Mount Victoria.
Because this road is so windy and so steep.
Look at this guy, look. Like on a bush bike. See the little orange thing? Yeah, he's riding a bush bike.
Trying to get up a mountain range.
Silly bloody sausage. Bloody cable thing that sits still. It's always the way when you're coming down a hill.
See how steep this mountain range is? Look.
It's got to sit right up your clacker.
Sit right up your clacker. I mean, sits right up your backside.
Really just annoying me.
Your clacker's your arsehole.
Look at this, look.
Arsehole in Australia is not a rude word.
Look, see? He's riding his brakes. He's allowed to do 80 k's an hour and he's doing 40. He's a crawler. I call them cockroaches.
Cockroaches, yeah, they crawl around everywhere. Now that's the turn off there to Jenolan Caves.
And he thinks
See?
he's going to do 40 in a car.
That's the one where Mr. Ballon done a story on Jenolan Caves. That's where that is. This is the terrain where those people were.
I just missed the sign catching on the camera. So there was a story there by Mr. Ballon. And I'll come back in a second. We have a thing over here. They don't like seeing cameras in cut.
I don't like seeing cameras. Right, now, this is the original Pacific Highway. Sorry, the Great Western Highway. This is the original Great Western Highway that used to go to Bathurst. Now, way back in 1970, 1980, everybody used to go to the Bathurst Raceway at Mount Panorama, used to go over the North Richmond Bridge over the Hawkesbury, because this was a road that was west of Katoomba, where the famous Three Sisters are, where some Americans and Canadians disappear and never ever come back and never get found. Yes, it's another 411 area, and David Paulides done a big story on it. So When you look up David Politis, you can see the Australian disappearances. One there was the guy from England who disappeared after a restaurant, and the other one was a lady up the road, which I went out to the airfield at Katoomba Airport, which nobody knows exists. I've done that one. And that was up there near Blackheath at a little tiny town. Anyway, but to show you how narrow the old Great Western Highway is, the original Great Western Highway, why all the people going to Bathurst used to not come back or go to Bathurst via the Great Western Highway until they made it 6 lanes. This is it. This is how narrow it used to be.
Let's put the window down. Let's have a view.
Road closure.
See? Road closed. Now, could you imagine coming down here in a Kenworth truck?
Come down here in a
Way back
Kenworth.
about 1978.
This used to be the Great Western Highway.
Now, for the dum-dums, who think, oh, yeah, right, okay. Well, why would they mark a yellow line on a dead-end road? No overtaking on the bend. That's right. This is
See how narrow the road is? This is the main highway. Used to be the main highway from Katoomba to Lithgow to go to Bathurst.
There's the highway.
It's all been closed down now, and now the properties up there gone up in value because it's now down a dead-end road. Now you wait till you see the size of this bridge. That house there was actually up there for rent, actually.
These houses must have went up.
See the double yellow lines? Look.
Imagine the day when this here was operating as a Great Western Highway. Then all of a sudden it was closed off and the Great Western Highway went away. Because
Check out this bridge.
Here is the bridge.
That's the bridge. You wait till you see it.
And look at that little humpy.
Look, little house over there.
Imagine living in
That house was there by the Department of Main Roads, and the guy used to maintain the bridge. That's why that little house is there. Look how narrow this bridge is. Look, you can see it. It's made out of wood. See the concrete barricades in the green bush?
And you'd be lying here in bed, down in this damp, little creaky little spot. And all you hear is trucks and Kenworth trucks all flying over this big old wooden bridge. Let's go and have a look. Let's really stick this out. Have a look at that. Look how old that is. Look, there's the black and white signs. Look.
That's the bridge. Look at the holes in it. That's why they closed it down as the Great Western Highway. See, I explore these places.
The holes in the timber.
See, you could not pass a truck on it. It was too narrow.
Turn the motor off and you can hear the waterfall. Have a listen.
Have a listen, hear the waterfall.
And look, you see cars go past. Watch. Geez, I love exploring the old Great Western Highway. So, could you just imagine being here the day when they come down here and they said, oh, we're going to open up the Great Western Highway, the new one. And they would have went up there and put the barricades up and made everybody go down the new one. And the last trucks or cars would have come down here after they closed it off, not knowing that they were the last vehicles to cross this road. And then the council come down here with a little crane, using that steel ring there and drop that barricade there, never to be moved again. But, you know, they would have built that little bit of concrete there with that ring in it, just to build it, put it there, to stop some idiot like me 20, 30 years later trying to drive over that wooden bridge. I'm an idiot. I wouldn't drive over it. But can you just picture it?
But see, over that bridge is the brand new Great Western Highway. It's 3 lanes. So this is called Hartley. So you've got to go look it up. Hartley. And you can see it. There's a huge, great big sandstone building. I'll pause you and I'll take you up to it. Now, this bit here now is coming into Hartley. This is the old Great Western Highway. This is how narrow it was. So you can imagine thousands of cars. Now check out this old pioneer building. How you going, brother? See?
Look at this. Look at this big old beautiful sandstone. Look at that. See, it's better there with the sun on it. You can see it.
See? These were actually cabin houses for the old-fashioned stagecoaches, Cobb and Co. Yes, Cobb and Co. And look at that big, beautiful sandstone. Check this out.
The Hartley Historical Village.
Check that out.
So many people.
Check this out. Look how big this is.
Why this beautiful? Look, there's the lady. Look, she's taking a photo.
Look, she's taking a photo of it. Look at the big, beautiful sandstone. And this is on a disused highway.
And people absolutely gobsmacked. Why would you build such beautiful architecture out here?
Because right there in front of you is the Great Western Highway. Look. There's the old Great Western Highway there on the right. That little bit of road off to the right, that's the original Great Western.
Why they built that there?
Because that's the old Great Western over there. See those little huts?
Cast your mind back to 1870.
1870. Look at them.
1870.
That's when Horse and Sulkies went over the Blue Mountains.
We had Horse and Sulky. So Horse and Sulky comes over that hill. And a lot of these houses here were taverns. And people could park their horse and sulky.
See, by the time you got on a Horse and Sulky and you left Katoomba and you got up to Mount Victoria and then you come down the other side to Hartley, it was on dark. It'd take you a whole day to travel 10 miles.
So they had to camp somewhere.
And that's why it took so long for Horse and Sulky to go from Penrith over the Blue Mountains to take you 2 weeks. That's why the railways were built and the steam engine could get there in a day because a horse couldn't beat a steam engine. But now you've got cars, you get there a lot quicker.
Great Western Highway. And I've said it before in other videos. The Bells Liner Road was the main trucking highway over the Blue Mountains before they built this road. Because that wasn't there and that's what the road was. Now, does it make sense? Well, the Bells Liner Road was the main highway. You come from Sydney and you come out along Old Windsor Road, out to Windsor, up top of the hill where the new bridge is, turn left down George Street, Windsor. I sat there as a kid. There was 7 hamburger shops and all the truck drivers